Matthew 12, Jesus teaches on mercy, authority, and the heart. Matthew 12 is a chapter rich in teaching and confrontation. Jesus challenges religious traditions, demonstrates his authority, and reveals the true nature of God's kingdom. Through his words and actions, he emphasizes mercy, faith, and the importance of the heart over outward appearances. Key themes in Matthew 12. First, Jesus, Lord of the Sabbath. In Matthew 12, verses 1 to 8, the Pharisees accuse Jesus and his disciples of breaking the Sabbath when they pick grain to eat. Jesus responds by reminding them that God desires mercy, not sacrifice. If you had known what these words mean, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the innocent. Matthew 12, verse 7. Jesus declares himself Lord of the Sabbath, verse 8. Showing that he has authority over the law and prioritizes compassion over rigid legalism. Second, healing on the Sabbath. Jesus heals a man with a withered hand on the Sabbath, again confronting the Pharisees' interpretation of the law. He asks, is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath? Matthew 12, verse 12, and demonstrates that God's heart is for restoration and life, even on the Sabbath. Third, the power and authority of Jesus. In Matthew 12, verses 22 to 37, Jesus heals a demon-possessed man, prompting the Pharisees to claim that he works by the power of Beelzebul. Jesus rebukes them, teaching that a kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. He also warns against blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, the deliberate rejection of God's work through his Spirit. Fourth, the importance of the heart. Jesus reveals that our words and actions flow from the condition of our hearts, for the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. A good man brings good things out of the good stored up in him, and an evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in him. Matthew 12, verses 34 to 35. This teaching challenges us to examine our hearts and let God transform us from the inside out. Fifth, the sign of Jonah. The Pharisees and teachers of the law demand a sign, and Jesus responds by pointing to Jonah's 3 days in the belly of the fish as a foreshadowing of his death and resurrection. Matthew 12, verses 39 to 40. This sign of Jonah underscores the gospel message: salvation comes through Jesus' death and resurrection. Finally, true family. At the end of the chapter, Jesus redefines what it means to belong to his family. Whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother. Matthew 12, verse 50. Jesus emphasizes that spiritual relationships rooted in obedience to God are even more important than biological ties. Lessons from Matthew 12. God desires mercy and compassion. The legalism of the Pharisees stands in stark contrast to the mercy of Jesus. This chapter reminds us that following God is about a heart of love and compassion, not rigid adherence to rules. Hosea chapter 6, verse 6 reinforces this. For I desire mercy, not sacrifice, and acknowledgement of God rather than burnt offerings. Examine your heart. Our words and actions reflect the state of our hearts. If bitterness, jealousy, or pride fills your heart, it will overflow into your life. Invite God to cleanse and renew your heart, aligning it with his truth and love. Jesus has ultimate authority. Jesus' declaration as Lord of the Sabbath and his power to heal and cast out demons affirm his divine authority. Trust him as the sovereign ruler over all circumstances in your life. Faith over signs. The Pharisees demanded signs, but Jesus calls us to trust him without requiring constant proof. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1 reminds us that faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Applying Matthew 12, practice mercy. Look for ways to show compassion, even when it disrupts tradition or convenience. Guard your heart. Ask God to reveal areas in your life that need healing and transformation. Trust Jesus' authority. Rely on him as the Lord of your life, knowing he has the power to guide, heal, and restore. Focus on obedience. Live as part of Jesus' family by doing the will of the Father. Conclusion. Matthew chapter 12 challenges us to move beyond outward appearances and embrace the heart of God's kingdom, mercy, faith, and obedience. Jesus' words and actions in this chapter call us to examine our hearts, trust his authority, and walk in the freedom of his grace. If this message encourages you, please like, share, and subscribe to spread the good news.